And the group stages are done, and now it's time for the round 3 roundup, everyone. Well, the round 1 roundup did very, very well, and we're doing the round 3 one now. We don't talk about the round 2 one. Hopefully the round 3 can do it as well as the round 1. But here we go, and we're just going to be starting with Group A. And now this group had a very sparky end. It was Germany 1, Switzerland 1, and Scotland 0, Hungary 1. Well, some of the theatrics here no longer matter with hindsight. Well, Switzerland almost shocked Germany, almost beat them 1-0 until Füllkrug equalised very late on. It would have been Switzerland topping the group, surprisingly, and making my predictions even worse, had Füllkrug not scored. But it was 1-1 in the end. Germany finished top, and then Switzerland finished second with that result. The 1-0 to Hungary almost mattered, but in the end, Hungary were not able to qualify, as it was just Croatia that finished with a worse points total than them. But dramatic scenes at the end there when Scotland were also trying to qualify, which I don't even think a win there would have been enough for them anymore. I really thought the goal there was offside. I completely didn't react to the goal because I thought it was completely offside, and then it was given, and I was really surprised. But it must have been with the semi-automated offside. I trust it. Moving on to Group B now, and Spain really put out a B team here, and yet Ferran Torres was able to put a wonderful finish into the bottom corner, straight daggers into Albanian hearts. It was enough to kill them off. David Raya had a decent game here. He had a good few saves, and Albania weren't that good even against a B team. We played the likes of Jesus Navas, the likes of Torres that I mentioned earlier. Joselu played, David Raya. But yeah, even with that, it was enough to win. It was 1-1, Croatia versus Italy. A fiery end to that game. And Croatia were 30 seconds away from qualification here. It was so close. And Sakani struck that dagger in the 98th minute to send Italy through guaranteed, and it was very dramatic. Feel very bad for Croatia, but it did actually make my predictions completely spot on. First game of Group C here, England 0, Slovenia 0, a massive achievement for Slovenia. But England were completely off it. At the beginning of the game, they just kept lazily giving the ball away, and they kept crossing into box to no one. There was a moment where Foden was offside, but he crossed it in, and Saka just slipped, and he wouldn't have got there anyway. There's just no one in the box there for England. The way he gave the ball completely away and had to get a yellow to prevent the goal there. And England was just sloppy in defence. Slovenia managed to contain them in the end, and they just kept shooting from so far out. They didn't try to find the final pass. They just were shooting from far out, and when they did find that final pass towards the end of the game, they just passed it to Palmer, and Palmer just hit it straight into the goalkeeper. A terrible finish. In the end, England were not good enough, and it was 0-0, and they're probably the worst team to top the group. Now, Denmark-Serbia was also a boring 0-0. Serbia were heavily pressing early on, but Denmark were dominating. They were able to deal with it. Mitrovic wasn't able to get past his man a moment towards the beginning, too slow. But Denmark also weren't able to finish their chances, and that's what really led to the 0-0. Mitro was diving and throwing to himself to the floor twice in the game, and he was really getting in the ref's face with no repercussion. I mean, the offside was very, very harsh. It was quite tight, and the own goal was just horrendously stupid. Just smacked it into his own goal. Just ridiculous. But yeah, that was Group C. Group D, another first game, France versus Poland. Dembele was absolutely horrendous hit. An absolute car crash. Kept just hitting the ball straight at the goalkeeper, or passing the ball to nobody, or just losing the ball. Awful touches all game. Kante was actually pretty solid. He was winning the ball. He was doing some good passes. There was a moment where Hernandez just crossed the ball into nobody. They kept crossing the ball to nobody. There was just no one in the box for France. They completely dominated, and in the end it was 1-1, and they somehow didn't top this group. Also, the penalty, I don't know if it should have been retaken, because Levers started about 5 million times there. My nan, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? But, like, he's coming off his line. For the first stutter, he's on his line. The second stutter, he's on his line. The third one, he's off. It's like, I mean, at that point, Levers the one to blame. As I said, Mbappe wasn't very good either. He kept getting tackled. He was easily pocketed. I don't know. The mask doesn't seem to be doing him any favours. And then in the second half, Mbappe just put long shots and long shots and long shots, just expecting one to go in, and none of them were any good. Keeper wasn't really troubled, and it was quite selfish. And France really suffered from it. First pen was absolutely terrible though from Lewandowski. Anyway, just in the end, France had 0 end product. Poland were lucky. Mbappe was ineffectual. Dembele was terrible, and Kante was pretty solid. Now the other game from Group D was the Netherlands versus Austria. Now this was a very exciting game. To begin with, that Marlon own goal was completely unnecessary. I don't know why he's down there as a right winger. It wasn't very good for the rest of the first half, but started making up for it for the second. Because also in the first half, he scuffed a one-on-one wide, which could have left Netherlands in a better place. Verman was subbed off early for Xavi Simons. That was a big deal, really, for him at least. Wimmer was very lucky to be on the pitch, in my opinion. I think he should have been off. He rugby tackles someone, no card, and then he steps on someone, that's a card, but that should have been his second. It should have been his second. He definitely shouldn't have been on the pitch, and that definitely would have changed this game. There was Schmid down the right, and he would not run for anything if it was even slightly out of his range. He wouldn't run for it at all. Well, there was a goal very quickly off kickoff. It was pretty decent from Gakpo there, and then the 2-1 was absolutely woeful defending. He's on there on the line. The players somehow got through to begin with, and he's just flapped at it and it's gone in. Ridiculous, really. Very terrible defending. The Depay goal was a very nice finish. I definitely think it should have stood. The ball to Sabitzer was very nice, but the goalkeeping is very, very questionable. I don't know how he's been beaten that easily at his near post. And then again for a goal that was disallowed later. Obviously offside. But the keeping was absolutely atrocious. He's just gone like that. And it's somehow gone in his near post. He's terrible down his near post. And I think maybe attackers are going to start trying to exploit that. Weghorst missed the diving header late on as well. The Netherlands were quite wasteful. Austria were very clinical. And it was mostly in the Netherlands' favour, really. But Austria came away with the win. And that's Group D. Group E now. And how about we start with Romania versus Slovakia. Now, this was the only one of the with goals. And, well, Ratiu started off the game with a nice shot for Romania. And then that pearler of a cross came in. Beautifully delivered. But no defenders marking Duda there, who just heads it in easily. The Spanish commentators had a nice poem. They said, "No hay duda," which means there's no problem. There was also, before the goal, there was a cross from Slovakia that just went through about 8 players, 3 of which being Slovakia attackers who had just tucked it in, and none of them have gone for it. Pretty disappointing from them. Penalty was a bit dubious. The first bit of contact is outside, and I think that's the most damning, and then there's a second slight bit of contact inside, and I think you should go off the first contact, if I'm going to be honest. But it's whatever. They were given the penalty. It was very nicely slotted into the top corner. Second half was very uneventful. Dragusin hit it right up into the air, and it was almost a big mix-up, but nothing came of it. Keeper just punched it away. There was a nice shot from Dragusin that almost went in, and that was kind of it. It was a pretty uneventful second half there. Both teams were celebrating at full time, and that's something you don't see very often. Now Ukraine versus Belgium, and Lukaku scuffed a multitude of attacks. And either he was missing a shot, missing the ball, not being able to get it across. Lukaku was woeful here. There was a laser pointer in the crowd. Ukraine were being very over physical in this game as well. There was a moment late on in the first half where Ukraine just squared it across the goal and there was no one there for them. Lukaku missed a Doku cross in the second half as well. Ukraine almost scored at a corner, but it was hit away by Casteels. And in this game, Lunin was actually pretty solid, making up for the Romania game, but it's his last game in Euro 2024 because Ukraine are going home because of it. Ukraine were very unlucky to go home in this group, 4 points, but they did. So, and that is the end of Group E. Now Group F. And we're going to start with Georgia versus Portugal. And the goal from Kavica Kvaratskhelia early on was very, very deadly off the counter. Antonio Silva lazily giving the ball away, and they were very deadly off that counter. They hit them immediately, and it was a very nice finish from Kavica Kvaratskhelia. Georgia were being very dangerous off the counter throughout the first half, but they couldn't find another goal there. Portugal were completely dominating. There was a moment where Conceição hit the ball into the ground and somehow wide when the keeper wasn't really there. Ronaldo got a yellow card for getting the referee's face and for diving. Well, actually, no, he didn't get carded for diving and was in the referee's face again later, ridiculous. Ronaldo should have been off the pitch. There's no doubt about it. Portugal really didn't have any end product in this first half, in the entire game, really. There was a very good block from theyre in the second half to deny Ronaldo his first Euro 2024 goal. There was a good cross into the box that was missed by the first player, and then Kavica has scuffed it. There was an absolutely insane Mamashvili save that didn't matter in the end because there was a penalty beforehand. Also conceded by Antonio Silva. Awful game from him. The penalty was almost saved, but it did go in the end. And Gonçalo Ramos missed a late, it was a cross goal, and he just didn't put a foot out at all. Really could have made it 2-1 there for Portugal. And finally, Turkey versus the Czech Republic. Well, Turkey weren't dominating until the red card. Czechia were mostly dominating before that red card. But yeah, it was definitely second yellow. I haven't seen the first yellow, but the second yellow absolutely, completely deserved. Yildiz also could have been off the pitch because there was a stamp not too soon after. There was a stamp that gave him a yellow, and then not too soon after, he was arguing with the referee. He committed another foul. It was an elbow. I mean, lucky to be on the pitch. There was a one-on-one with Czechia late on in the second half that they missed. Well, the first goal for Turkey was an incredible block, then it was an incredible save, and then Çalhanoğlu has just hit that so sweetly. The way that ball moves makes me feel things ridiculously good. The Czech Republic goal was a goal. In my opinion, it's a goalkeeper foul. I don't think it should have stood, but it really didn't matter in the end. There was a moment where a player was up and he did a fake shot and then he shot and it was saved easily. Really could have scored that one, but it didn't matter because then Cenk Tosun scored later. Pretty decent finish. But before that, there was a goal from Czech Republic that was disallowed because it was whistled early. I think it should have stood. I do not think it should have been a foul in the favour of Turkey. If anything, it should have been a foul in the favour of the Czech Republic first because it hit a hand, an arm, but that's a handball. Either way, it was 2-1 in the end, and I think Czech Republic have had some decisions that are against them that really shouldn't have been against them, but that's how it ended in the end. And of course, who could forget the scrap at the end that led to a yellow card to Arda Güler and another Turkish player, and a red card for Chori. I mean, I really don't think he'll care because they're out of the competition. Well, that is it for the round 3 roundup. Thank you for everyone who's watched to this moment. If you're new, leave a sub. If you're not new, leave a like. And if you're new, also leave a like, because that will help other people be new to this channel. There's a lot of other really great videos that I've made recently, especially the Spain video that I made recently, if you want to check that out. Thank you for all the support recently. It's been wonderful. And I'll see you next with the group stage predictions review, and then after that, the round of 16 review. So, see ya.